Welcome to Stories of Our Texas Revolution. I'm your host, and Texas History Ambassador, Ana Gonzalez, and today we have to talk about a prominent figure in our Texas Revolution. He was a young man from San Antonio whose name is still well known today in Texas. Albeit, most Texans today do not know or can tell you what this revolutionary patriot did during the revolution that made him such an important and influential person during that historic struggle. Most Texans don't know. So I will attempt to address that question in our show today entitled, Who was Juan Seguín? Let me welcome you if this is your first visit to our page. Thank you for your support of Texas history and the TVC. If you like and appreciate Texas history and the TVC, then hit that like and subscribe button. Also, if you don't want to miss any of our future videos, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos. Now let's get back to the presentation. Many years ago, San Antonio de Bari was part of Spain's empire in the Americas. Then, in 1821, Spanish Tejas became Mexican Tejas when Mexico achieved independence from Spain. So at that moment in history, San Antonio de Bari became part of a brand new country, Mexico. And, in less than 20 years, Spanish families, primarily descendants of Canary Islanders, from Tejas, called Tejanos, and recent Anglo settlers in Tejas planned to break away and take up arms against this new country of Mexico. Their struggle was the beginning of Texas liberty and independence. The fight for Texas independence came at a cost. So many men and women, Anglos and Tejanos, gave and sacrificed so much for this Texas independence cause, sometimes everything. And unfortunately, most of that generation in Texas lost everything during that time. Today we celebrate and remember our Texas revolutionary heroes. Men like Sam Houston, Jim Bowie, William B. Travis, James Fannin, Stephen F. Austin, David Crockett, Almiron Dickinson, and James Bonham always come to mind. Still, history would ask you, who was Juan Seguín? What did he personally contribute, lose, or risk ensuring Texas freedom, sovereignty, and independence during our revolution? Juan Nepomuceno Seguin, or simply Juan Seguin, was born in 1806 in San Antonio de Bari, New Spain, now San Antonio, Texas, to a wealthy San Antonio ranching family. Juan was a revolutionary and politician who helped establish the independence of Texas. Juan was very well known and respected in San Antonio and the surrounding areas. His family had a house near La Plaza de San Fernando on Nueva Street. His family also owned a beautiful hacienda at their ranch near modern-day Floresville. It was called Casablanca. Juan's great-paternal grandfather, Bartolomeo, arrived in San Antonio in 1718, making the Seguins one of the first families to settle in this new city of San Antonio. Juan Seguin's father, Erasmo, José Antonio Navarro, and Juan Martín de Veramendi were the prominent Spanish elite gentlemen of San Antonio, chosen by the Spanish governor to aid Moses Austin first, then later Stephen Austin, with the installation and settlement of the old 300 families. These were the first 300 families to legally settle in some of the most beautiful lands God created in East Texas. These Spanish gentlemen welcomed their new Anglo neighbors into their land. In Mexican Tejas, many individuals in San Antonio, including Juan Seguin, wanted Tejas to be its own Mexican state and sided with Stephen Austin, who wished for the autonomy of this region. As a teenager in Mexico, Juan had a strong interest in politics. In 1829, Juan Seguin was elected alderman in San Antonio de Bari at 23. He became the mayor of San Antonio in 1833. But by 1835, political tensions escalated between the Mexican government and the people of Texas. Anglos and Tejanos objected to Mexican President Antonio López de Santa Anna's harsh regime and centralist policies. So, the Anglos and the Tejanos decided to stand united against Mexico. Their stand proved to be a considerable risk since just 20 years ago, the Texians and Tejanos suffered a colossal defeat with extreme vengeance at the Battle of Medina. In late September 1835, sensing that war with Mexico was imminent, Seguin took it upon himself to call an emergency meeting in his hometown. He instructed his best friend Chava and Manuel Leal to invite all the young men of San Antonio and surrounding areas to convene at the Flores de Abrego ranch. As a result, many local Tejanos met there on September 28, 1835. That meeting consisted entirely of Juan's childhood friends from San Antonio and the surrounding areas. At that gathering were the Flores brothers, who were Juan's brothers-in-law, Gregorio Esparza, Antonio Cruz de Arocha, Manuel Leal, Andres Nava, Los Herrera, the Corbier brothers, and Trinidad Coy. Also at that historic meeting were several young Tejanos like Carlos Chacon, age 17, and Carlos Espalier and Fernando Corbier, age 16. That day the group formed the now famous Tejano Volunteer Company, and Juan Seguin was elected leader of the fighting group. Under his leadership, the TVC would recruit and command fighting Tejanos for the Texian army. This military unit started with 41 men and would reach 232 by the end of the revolution. And, during that rebellion, Seguin's Tejano Volunteer Company would participate, in almost all, Texas revolutionary skirmishes and battles. Soon after the skirmish at Gonzales, Stephen F. Austin commissioned Juan Seguin, a captain in the new Texian Revolutionary Army. Austin then gave Juan Seguin the crucial task of supplying the Texian troops with food and provisions. For this, Captain Seguin turned to the wealthy Tejanos, who favored independence. Independence supporters like José Antonio Navarro, Erasmo Seguin, José Miguel de Arciniega, and José Flores de Abrego, the father of the fighting Flores brothers, assisted greatly with this task. Then, in late October 1835, at the beginning of the Siege of Bear Campaign, General Austin ordered Colonel Bowie and Colonel Fannin to find a suitable and safe location for the Texian army to camp. Bowie immediately called on his friends, Captain Seguin and his Tejano Volunteer Company, for this task. It turns out that not only did Bowie know and respect these young Tejanos, but he also recognized that nobody knew the Texas area and terrain like the Tejanos, especially after dark. So by the fall of 1835, just 2 years after taking the office of alcalde of San Antonio, a young 28-year-old captain, Juan Seguin, was feeding, supplying, and securing safe shelter for a newly organized Texian resistance force. And now, the stage was set for the birthing of a new nation. From October 1835 to April 1836, 12 battles would occur in Texas, determining the war's outcome. It seems that history would put Juan Seguin right smack in the middle of all major historical battles and events. Juan had a front row seat and witnessed the birthing of this new nation, Texas. Juan Seguin bravely fought and participated in the following historical events. During the Siege of Bear Campaign, he participated in the Battle of Concepcion and the grass fight along with Texian leaders and personal friends Colonel Jim Bowie and James Fannin. Juan was also at the storming of the Veramendi Palace, the campaign's final phase. Under the leadership of Colonels Burleson, Milam, and Johnson, Texians and Tejanos bravely stormed the homes downtown. That winter, the Texians and Tejanos captured the city of San Antonio de Bear. The Siege of Bear was a successful campaign for the rebels, and Juan was there for it. Juan Seguin was also a defender at the Alamo, along with many of his Tejano friends. He would lose good friends that fell there on March 6, 1836. He escaped death because Travis sent him out as a messenger to Gonzales before the Alamo fell. After the Alamo, Juan's orders from General Houston for his Tejano Volunteer Unit were to guard the retreat of the withdrawing Texian army during the runaway scrape. Several times Seguin's fighting Tejanos engaged advance units of the Mexican army to keep the retreating Texian army safe. Seguin and his men knew the area well for defensive-type guerrilla warfare. Finally, history remembers a young captain, Juan Seguín, at a crucial historic battle. Juan led the TVC, as part of the Texian force, at the highly successful Battle of San Jacinto near modern-day Houston, Texas. At that battle, Juan led his Tejano Volunteer Company, 52 fighting Tejanos, mainly consisting of his cavalry officers. He successfully charged and attacked the enemy's right flank. This battle would become Captain Juan Seguín's, and the TVC's, moment of glory. After the battle, defeated and captured, General Antonio López de Santa Anna personally surrendered Texas to General Sam Houston. Santa Anna then surrendered the city of San Antonio to now Lieutenant Colonel Juan Seguín. And just like that, Texas was born as a republic. Tejano patriot Juan Seguín and the TVC patriots were there to witness this historic event. But 5 short years after the Battle of San Jacinto, San Antonio de Bexar had changed from being predominantly Tejano to mainly Anglo. The new arrivals of Anglos now outnumbered the local Tejanos 5-1. The best way to describe the relationship between the Tejanos and the Anglos in San Antonio after the War for Texas independence was not good. In 1841, it was like just yesterday that Texians and Tejanos were fighting side by side for their lives against a common enemy. And in 1842, Juan Seguín was again elected mayor of San Antonio de Bexar. Still, some of the newly arrived Anglo population, representing the majority, did not know or care who Juan Seguín was. And the others had forgotten. Imagine this headline on a San Antonio newspaper at the time. Wealthy rancher, Texas patriot. Mayor of San Antonio. Juan Seguín forced to abandon his mayoral post and relocate his family to Mexico due to deadly threats. The new Republic of Texas was not ready to allow Tejano participation in government. True, Seguin was elected as a Texas senator from 1837 to 1840 and worked closely with Congressman José Antonio Navarro. Together they prepared and presented legislation in the best interest of citizens of Spanish descent in Texas. The Spanish descendants were quickly becoming the political minority. But that changed in 1842 when enemies of Juan Seguín forced him to leave Texas because now there was a new saying there. It was a famous slogan circulated among the San Antonio de Bexar population and repeated everywhere. Texas for Texans. And that did not include Juan Seguín or his family. So they were forced to leave Texas and live among their enemies in Mexico. What was once a Spanish villa and a Tejano city, San Antonio, Texas, would not see another Hispanic mayor for 139 years. Then, finally, the next Hispanic mayor of San Antonio was elected in 1981. His name was Henry Cisneros. After the Mexican-American War in 1848, Juan Seguín was finally permitted to return to Texas, to Floresville, Casablanca. But no parade awaited Juan, or any invitations to be honored in Austin or San Antonio as a living hero of the Texas Revolution. Instead, in 1839, only the city that bears his name, just east of San Antonio, honored him in his lifetime. In the final analysis, it can be said that Juan Seguín served and protected Texians during the rebellion. Juan served proudly and bravely in its front lines, all in the name of Texas liberty and independence, for Tejanos and Anglos. So again, history is asking, who was Juan Seguín? You can factually say that this young man, Juan Seguín, was a patriot who loved Texas and stood for freedom. He saw his duty and carried it out without hesitation. He inspired and influenced many Tejano and Anglo principles of that era. Seguin fed an army when it was hungry and provided it with the tools and supplies needed to achieve the objective of winning the war. History remembers this young man of our revolution as one of the most exemplary citizens San Antonio has ever produced. Juan was from one of San Antonio's oldest and most respected families. He was a brave young man who rose to the rank of lieutenant colonel in the Texian army during the Texas Revolution. Juan was the mayor of San Antonio on several occasions and an early Texas senator of the Republic. He also led the most successful militia of the Texas Revolution. Juan Seguin was a true Texas patriot, a hero of the Texas Revolution. Seguin's famous quote, "Texas shall be free and independent, or we should die in glorious combat," still resonates in the hearts of Texans today. This video presentation is dedicated to Juan Seguin's descendants living today in Texas and worldwide. They continue to proudly carry the torch of freedom handed down to them by Juan Nepomuceno Seguin, leader of the Tejano Volunteer Company, to benefit this great republic, Texas. And thank you, Juan Seguin, for having the vision for a free and independent Texas and the courage to fight for what you believed in. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this presentation called, "Who is Juan Seguin?" And remember, Texas heroes never forget.